said, I found this video on Instagram 4 days ago and reposted it on Facebook. Surprisingly enough, I made $1,000 unintentionally. These platforms don't care where you get it from, but they will pay you as long as you post stuff people want to watch.
Yeah, they were making thousands of dollars and then they were demonetized, and once you're kicked out of that program, you're done.
On consent, compensation, fair use, and copyright infringement, that is the perfect segue into my topic. So there is a coach, a business coach and podcast coach that I've been following for 4 years now, since 2020. His name is David Shands. I've gotten a ton of valuable information from him and his business partner. Specifically, her name is Donnie Wiggins. They were like a really dynamic duo, but specifically, the information that I've gotten from them is from their podcast. So 50% of their podcast or so is them interviewing entrepreneurs who have made a living from scratch, like started from zero and went up. And then the other 50% is them podcasting about their journey as entrepreneurs, things that they're learning and teaching tools. So I think they're super beneficial. In my opinion, I've been following them for years. I probably started following Dave on Instagram a couple of years ago. I feel like his podcast is more valuable to me than his social posts because he's very dedicated to fresh, new, young entrepreneurs. If we start with my first business, I'm over 20 years in because I started my first business as a kid, but I've been an entrepreneur since post high school. So for me, a lot of the stuff that he posts or even some of the available information that he has is not for me because I just feel like, oh, okay, this is for a novice or somebody trying to get started. With that in mind, he posted something the other day and I was like, whoa, is this okay? And I sent it to y'all. And like 5 minutes later, Dame was sending it back to us. He was like, yo, did y'all see this? And so I'm like, okay, it came across both of our feeds and we were both alarmed by this. So I'm going to make several points with this, but I just want to fly over the post. And this is his caption. He said, I found this video on Instagram 4 days ago and reposted it on Facebook. Surprisingly enough, I made $1,000 unintentionally. These platforms don't care where you get it from, but they will pay you as long as you post stuff people want to watch. You don't have to create anymore. You just have to deliver. Chances are the person who created the content isn't typically the person who you reshared it from. People probably made more bread from stuff I created than me. I applaud them because they were smart enough to share it. I'm going to find someone to teach on this at my podcast summit. I'm about to just start finding stuff. And then at the end, which is a very important note, he says, FYI, that's why I never put music on long form videos. No beats, no songs, no nothing. So there are several things that I find a problem with this. The ethics of this are very south because you're like, first you start off saying, I found this video on Instagram and reposted it. In order to repost on any Meta app, you have to have another app to pull the content and then to reshare it. Meta does not allow reposting within their app because it can lead to copyright infringement and they don't want to be responsible. Meta is just like the labels. They're like, we didn't know somebody else owned it, so we can monetize it until somebody makes a claim. However, if you look at a ton of these meme accounts, a bunch of these pages that people follow where they're constantly reposting, they get taken down regularly. They get sold, the name gets changed. The reason that they have to maneuver in that way is because after you post enough people's content, you get sent all of these like takedown requests or people will report you, and it's way easier to report on Meta now. Not only can you report, you can tell all your followers and your friends to report a copyright infringement, and then they can go and say, this person stole this content or they're impersonating my friend, whatever. So to do this, I think is murky water, right? I'm not saying that everybody who reposts something occasionally is is trying to be like morally ambiguous or weird, or unethical. We won't even talk about morals. I'm not saying that if you repost something, you're unethical. If you intentionally take from other creators and repost with the intention of making money and not redistributing it, which you can't actually redistribute it because, like he said, you have no idea whose original content it is. You're intentionally doing that. I find problem with that. What's even worse is you pitching this to new, young, up-and-coming entrepreneurs and saying, just go take, it doesn't matter, don't even create anymore. Just go swipe from other people, don't put music on it, and repost it. Several people in the comments said, why don't you put music on it? Can you explain that? It doesn't make sense, which again, so bothers me more because he doesn't even know, he just knows he can't monetize when he puts music on a video. That's why he doesn't put music. You can't monetize when you put a beat or music on a video. Why? Because you would be making money off of a piece of content that has somebody else's intellectual property integrated into it. That's why you can't run an ad on a post that has a song on it. That's why you can't, none of the traffic, none of the boost, all of that. But you can, so he even put that in there as a teaching thing, like, oh, let me teach y'all, don't put any music on your thing. But again, I don't comment on a lot of people. If something isn't for me, it's just not for me. I keep it moving if I don't like something. But again, I've been eating from this dude, his company, his podcast. It's my most listened to podcast 3 years running, right? I spent money on a couple of his ebooks. You know what I'm saying? Like I pulled up to a couple of things here and there. I've rented his podcast studio. I spent money here. And I commented, I'm like, hey man, I don't have to agree with everything that everybody says. That's cool, but I can't let this slide. You are telling people to go steal other people's intellectual property, repost it, and make money. I said, I think that you may misunderstand what you're asking people to do. So I'm commenting here because this is unethical. And you're somebody who champions for ethics and morality. And he's big on that. He's big on like doing the right thing and all that. And so for me to read this, and he said, I just found this stuff. Don't even create anything. Just go take it and monetize it. It's super weird to me. And then he responded and said, you don't have to agree with everything. No, it's not a misunderstanding. He basically said, people have stolen my stuff thousands, possibly millions of times, and I'm grateful for it. And I responded, just because you're okay with people taking stuff from this platform and reposting it doesn't make it more ethical. Him saying I applaud people who took from me and made money is crazy because on his YouTube page, Dame found that he has he has the copyright clause, like you cannot reproduce, repost, regenerate this without the express written consent of me. So for me, it's just like, it's weird. One, I have several points here. Don't go steal other people's content, right? People take our content all the time, repost, they monetize it, they get more traffic to their page. And Dame is big about us on our page not doing that. He's like, if you repost something, add your thoughts to it. We want to add to the notion and not just continuously repost. It is the game right now. This is what a lot of pages do. So I'm not saying that people aren't doing it. People are doing it, but I don't feel like it's ethically right. If this starts to bleed into lyrics, people don't think it's anything wrong with it because it's content. So they're like, oh, it's whatever. But if it bleeds into lyrics, if it bleeds into literature, if it bleeds into cinema, movies, like all these different things, if you start just taking what you want and reposting and monetizing, you are damaging the creative community with selfishness and a lack of ingenuity. You're just like, let me just take this. I'm going to monetize what you created because you don't know how to monetize it. To me, that's the most colonizer coded methodology ever. Like, why would you be okay taking other creators' work and then monetizing it without any redistribution? I think it's egregious at least. It's foolish at best. Like you may not understand what's going on. So when I tried to explain it, he tried to brush me off. And then there are other people in the comments saying dumb shit. But then somebody else commented and was like, hey, my page had 300,000 or 3 million followers, something like that. I was doing nothing but reposting. I got sent, my whole page got taken down and I requested to get it back, but I couldn't because I was posting other creators' content. He responds. This is 2 days after I posted what I posted. And Dame also commented too. So I'm going to let him take on his part. But he said, oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing. Now, he could have been being funny and a little facetious. I don't know, because I can't read. I'm not trying to decipher. But it seemed like he was surprised that somebody's page got taken down for posting other creators' content because, again, other people do it, so it has to be okay. That's crazy because I'm from Atlanta and hella people scam on the internet. Just because people do it and get away with it doesn't make it okay. So I want to caution people, don't do that, one. But two, be very intentional and pragmatic about who you're pulling your information from. Again, this is a person I've been following for 4 years. Top listened to podcast. I have enough wisdom and understanding to decipher, hey, this isn't right. And according to your stream of consciousness and the things that I see from you, you wouldn't align with this if you knew it was unethical. Me commenting and telling you it's unethical with a vast explanation multiple times, and you still doubling down on the fact that you're okay with it, now makes me question, am I interested in receiving as much information from this person as I have been? Are they as big of a voice of input in my life as they have been? Like, can I keep going with that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not dismissing his impact on me. I'm not dismissing the information that he's given, but I have to personally align with people whose ethics I align with. And to me, as somebody who's very close to creators and spends my entire career championing for creators, building IP and my own IP and other creators' IP and protecting it, to see somebody that I admire and that I listen to and that makes their living off of IP, which is crazy. It's like his only product is content. Like, that's your only product, and you're championing for people to not only steal it, but monetize it without your knowledge is so weird to me. And I think that we don't have to view things exactly the same. If you are okay with that for you, that's one thing. But to tell everybody, go follow me and steal from other people, I find problem with. So I'm gonna let y'all weigh in on this, but I thought it was really weird. I'm like, I think there's a ton of misunderstanding, because why would you have the copyright infringement thing on your YouTube, but you're telling people to go you're literally telling people to do what you would sue them for.
Well,
So
I mean, that little
really
copyright thing isn't shit. It's just kind of like, it's like putting up a sign on your car that says, please don't jack my car. It's like, but it's redundant.
But it's a sign that you have some type of understanding and awareness of, right? It doesn't stop people from doing it. I
would say it's the opposite of a sign of understanding or awareness. I think it's a sign of misunderstanding and unawareness, because if you're aware of the law, you know that's a given. It's just a way to kind of double down on you not wanting to get your shit jacked. And I think that speaks more to your point than anything, Dame, because if you know it's unnecessary and you put it there anyway, you're consciously trying to discourage what you're now encouraging.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. But if I see that, I'm assuming he knows that it's not okay for people to just like strip There's so many, like, I can't look at this. I mean, I didn't hold him on a high level to begin with. Like, I just kind of following some of the stuff he's been doing. I kind of had a side eye at a few different things, but this was completely ridiculous. And I don't understand how somebody that's been in the space for so long can not only post this, but advise other people to do it as well. Like, it's such a simple concept to me. Like, obviously I work with Big Ja. There's no way that we're going to pour, tens of thousands of dollars into creating content and then post it and then be okay with somebody taking that content, reposting it somewhere else and monetizing. That's going to make us mad as shit. But I realize, even with talking with Ja, like, a lot of folks can't grasp, like he identifies his stuff as content, but I had to explain to him like why that graph that David posted was just as creative, right? Like, just because you're making comedy or you're making music, like, educational content is content too. Like, no, any content you create, takes time, takes effort. The way that graph like, I forget exactly what it showed, but I think it showed like fast food chains over the years. But you have to come up with a way to deliver information where people can receive it. Maybe it's entertaining, maybe it's funny, like, but it's all content. You can't differentiate, oh, because that's a sketch, that's not okay, but that's educational content, so they probably wanted us to share it. Like, no, it's all original content that shouldn't be stripped unless you have permission to do so, or unless you are adding additional value to it. I'm not going to call out this page's name, but even people that I'm cool with and I see do it, I hit them up on the side and be like, yo, that's not cool. At the very least, you should be tagging the original creator, and it should be up top, because a lot of these pages, they'll take content, they'll have this big ass blurb in the caption, and then like tag the original creator at the very bottom. Like, nobody's gonna see that. So when I saw that, I was just like, man, that's why. And the fact that it's still up too, it's like you have time now to like go to other people and be like, hey, is what I said a little out of pocket? Like, I just think it's frustrating because there's so many people that are looking at that look up to him, that are now probably like going to find, or Christopher Columbus type find, other content on the internet, and just that they're not even looking to they're not even thinking about their own content right now. They're just going through Facebook and Instagram and looking for the most viral pieces of content so they can strip it, monetize it on their own page. And
you see that happening all the time, especially on TikTok. You'll see these little 10 followers, 300 total views, because all they're doing is stripping content. The problem with them is they're not doing it effectively because, well, for any number of reasons, they're not uploading consistently. There's no there's no theme. People are looking for business content on one channel, or cat videos on another, and if you're combining the two, it's just not going to work. And you see a lot of people who are just hungry for views doing that. They're like, I'm going to take this viral cat video, this viral business advice, this political video, this dating advice video. I'm going to put them all on my page and I'm going to blow up. And it doesn't work that way. But I've known people who have done this. They've made thousands of dollars. And I want to say it was off of maybe NBA highlights or some kind of very clearly copyrighted content. And yeah, they were making thousands of dollars, and then they were demonetized. And once you're kicked out of that program, you're done. You can't get it back.
Some people will be like, well, at least I got my bread. And if that's who you are, I mean, whatever, more power to you.
Well, yeah,
that's definitely not something that an educator should be preaching, right? So it's just it's frustrating. It's like, yo, like how did you possibly think that this was okay to post? And you got to know, like, if I post something and I'm thinking heavily in one direction, and then there's like a lot of people commenting in the other direction, I'm gonna at least like, okay, like what am I missing here? Like what's the blind spot? So yeah, it's when we get our content still.
I think pages like.
Go ahead.
My bad. I think pages like his, it's like he probably receives a good amount of detraction for just random things, again, because kind of like what you were saying, Dane, like. And what I'm saying, he's catering to new entrepreneurs. So people who are more seasoned, I'm not even saying that I'm just a vet in the game. I'm just more than a decade into actually making money off of things that I've created. But he's targeting people who probably have never made a full-time living or are fresher to a full-time living, right? So they may have detractions on his page out of ignorance, right? So I think sometimes, because I'll look at his comments sometimes, which is one of the reasons it took me so long to follow him, because it's like, okay, it's a lot of And I say ignorant, like in the actual form of the word, like you're just unaware of what this means or what matters. Even the amount of people were like, well, why don't you put music on the video? I'm like, y'all don't know anything about the internet, like, or socials, but that's the department that I work in. Like, I have a marketing company and I have a comtech company. It's like I've represented creators for years. I started before the internet in the music industry, before it was anything aside from MySpace. And then I saw Facebook bubble and you know what I'm saying? So it's like I've been here from the jump and evolved with every move because I'm a younger millennial. So it's still very relevant to me. So for him to have me, you, multiple people in the it's not a ton, but the video only has 83 comments on it. And of that, I think it's about 20 people, or 20 of those, 25 of those are detracting. So it's not like the overwhelming majority by any means. But if you go click on all of our pages, you can see that none of us are just shooting from the hip or like, hey, we don't like this, so we disagree. It's like all of us are vetted. You could just see from our bio who follows us. Like several of his people legitimately follow me. You know what I'm saying? Like several of the people he's going to have at his new podcast event next week or next month, several of the people that he's had on his podcast follow me. Not to say that validates me specifically, but it's like I would be like, let me check her out. Let me look at some of her videos. You, same thing. Then we go look at the other page. He's like, oh, I didn't know that. Then there's another chick who's like, I've had tons of my videos stolen and it's cost me a lot of money because they're monetizing, they're blowing up. She was like, I wouldn't suggest this. Everybody's ignoring this, or other people were like, he's giving game and y'all are arguing. And it's like, man, like you said, just a little bit of pragmatic thought, like, hey, let me think about this. It seems like some people are and I didn't just say, hey, don't do this. I gave a paragraph of why, and then came back with another paragraph of why. And he had no real valid. And then some people were like, well, if you're trying to say somebody's unethical for reposting a video, seems like you're the moral police. And I'm like, that's not at all what I was saying. I went into remixing. I went into why the platform monetizes at a lesser amount for remixing. I didn't even mention the music thing. That to me was back to the sneak dissing. He was telling on himself. The reason you can't monetize when music is in your video is because it's somebody else's IP. So you're telling me you take other people's IP, don't put music on it so you can monetize it. And you had to repost, not remix. Other people are saying remix. You had to repost, meaning you had to rip it, screen report it, or use a whole nother app to repost it. And you're sitting here defending it. Your defense for stealing is other people have stolen from me. You are a colonizer. In every sense of the word. And it's disrespectful and egregious and hurtful to hear a Black man who spends a ton of time building people up about being ethical in business. He's had full episodes where he's mentoring people like, that's unethical. Well, why would you do that? Do you feel like it's okay to do that? This is stealing. This is lying. For you to be building your platform off of ethics and then encouraging people to steal, and your literal opening line is, I found this. You are, as Dame said, Christopher Columbus. Like you either don't understand, which is what I gave you credit for misunderstanding. I'm like, I hope this is a misunderstanding because I'm not coming for you. I listen to you. I respect you. Either you misunderstand or you're intentionally being misleading. But either way, I think it's ridiculous.
The whole attitude that we should just be flattered that people are stealing our content is really prevalent. And I remember I made a video and Joe Rogan ripped it and it got like 6-7 million views, maybe more on his Instagram.
And he didn't tag you, right? He didn't tag you, Payne, right? He didn't tag you.
No, he didn't tag me. He didn't tag me. I didn't get anything from it. And so I didn't make a big deal about it, because or maybe he did tag me. I think maybe he did tag me, and for a period of time, I got a bunch
Tags don't even matter, though. It's not like people are going to come back to you.
Well, some did, and then like as quickly as I gained those followers, I lost them because I'm not at all in the same world as him, not morally, not not in any sense of the word. And then our I-20 interview goes crazy on the internet. It's at, I don't know, 120,000 views for that particular episode just on YouTube. And some media outlet, I don't know how you could call yourselves that, they just cut a clip, add a caption, put it up there, don't tag a single damn one of us, don't even name us. We find it, and I put in the comments, yo, can you tag us something? And you have all these people like, LOL, oh, now y'all want credit for some shit. And it's like, yes, we made the, do you not see? I mean, it was so crazy because I think you said it too, and someone was like, that ain't your shit. It's like, she's in the video. It's like you walk into my house and there's a big ass portrait of me painted hanging over the mantle, and you're like, this is not your house. And that's just kind of what I think fuels a lot of this attitude, is that, you know, the peanut gallery is going to support you because they are morons. Peanuts don't have consciousness enough to know that they're morons. And that's what these people are. They're a bunch of peanut heads just sitting on social media talking about, well, I would be grateful if someone stole my content and made $1,000. That's the dumbest shit you ever said in your life, because you absolutely would not. No, you wouldn't, unless you're already independently wealthy. Nah, come on.
And that's why I wanted a lawyer on this episode, because, like, admittingly, I don't know like all the ins and outs and like where the line is drawn, because, like, you know, obviously there's pages like Shade Room, although I think they're more organized and structured at this point. They're probably getting they're probably getting permission to do a lot of, just like TMZ. Like TMZ would never just like start ripping stuff and posting things. So like more legitimate pages. But I know people also see, like, you know, because Snoop Dogg's page will just rip stuff, post it, not credit anybody. 50 Cent's page will do the same thing. So I think maybe they see some of these larger pages. You know, I wanted a lawyer on this one to kind of tell you like what is okay. Because another person brought up blogs, like people take, you know, a video and put their video on it. But I believe a lawyer would say, you know, look, they're putting their commentary around it. They're posting the actual YouTube video. So the monetization of the YouTube video is going back to the creator. Because there's still a lot of things I can't advise because I'm not a lawyer. But we just recently have, like, obviously we're dropping episodes of the Lesbian Homie weekly, and then you can buy it at moment.co. But there was somebody that bought it on moment.co and then did like a live like review of it and posted it on YouTube before we even have those episodes on YouTube. They watched the whole thing. And I'm like, how did you think that was okay? They were like, oh, I thought because I bought it, I basically could strip it. And because I'm doing a live review of it, I could post it on YouTube before you guys even posted on YouTube. So, you know, luckily this person was just a bit ignorant. They weren't trying to do anything me. I just talked to him and was like, hey, you know, if you're reviewing the show, that actually is kind of dope to us. We can do some collaborative posts, but don't review any episodes before they actually come out. Like, that's deterring people from actually buying the show, taking money out of our pocket. You would hope people connect those dots. Some people genuinely don't. But there are a lot of people that are trying to maliciously, you know, just make money, however, just get it however. And, you know, it's both are all bad, but I would say one's worse than the other. Anyway, we got about 10 more minutes, and we can maybe, you know, continue this conversation next week. But I know that we also wanted to talk about, because, you know, when I was getting into the music industry, I didn't come from the music industry. So a lot of the things, a lot of the ways I looked at things were, you know, how I looked at other businesses, or how, you know, just kind of an outside looking in approach to things. And it was just constantly asking like, okay, why does the music industry do this way? And then if the answer was, you know, because we've always done it this way, then we just thought of a new way to do it. What's dope today is I feel like there's a lot of people getting into the music industry with diverse backgrounds, and they're taking different approaches to things, taking smarter approaches to things. And one of those companies is a company called Breaker. For people that aren't familiar, it's a way to get access to influencer marketing. So you can go to Breaker, create an account, and basically sift through tons of creators. For them, you can hire them essentially to promote your music. And it's done in a very structured way, because obviously if you're doing this on your own and you're just reaching out to creators one by one on Instagram, it's difficult. You know, the communication is difficult. Process so that you actually get what you're paying for. And you can find creators of all different sizes, you know, all different types of budgets. You know, so if you don't have the biggest budget, you can get a smaller influencer in more niche community where you're probably, it's more impactful because you're getting to people that are actually in your lane and you're more able to target things. So it's just a much smarter way to go about influencer marketing. Have either of you guys heard or used a Breaker yet?
I'm on similar platforms, and clearly it works because there are huge companies on these platforms reaching out to these small, mid-sized to large influencers. And so clearly it worked. And, you know, it's not like you're spending a bunch of money on it, but I know artists who do this and who have done it. And, you know, I'm just seeing people spend so much money on things that don't work, you know, like the fake playlisting and all types all types of stuff, where I think, man, you should have just given that $300 to a small creator and you would have been way better off.
Yeah. I feel like, so artists, you can be on either side of this coin. So if you have a platform and you want to introduce your community to other people's music, and you're open to that, you can make money doing so. And then on the other side, you can hire creators to promote your own music. And I think, you know, just kind of going through this process a few different times, maybe with a smaller budget, you'll get an idea of like how to do it best, how to best prep, how to best communicate to the influencer, like what to do, how to do it, and maybe find those cool influencers in your lane that are most effective, because you're kind of seeing some of the results from some of these campaigns. I know, Erinn, you were about to chime in as well. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I know manager, and he also served as an A&R for a couple of different companies, and he used to use Breaker. He had like a cool deal with them. Like he would do artist reviews live on Instagram for artists who were on the Breaker app. He has a really successful event series in Tallahassee, and so he would find talent on the Breaker app, like artists who were utilizing the app. And so he started doing an artist feedback series with them for that. So I think that they offer a lot of perks and like special one-off things. I know that they sponsor events and shows so that their artists can showcase on it. So I think the actual platform is beneficial, but I know their network, that's what I've had experience with, is their network definitely is connecting more dots. So I rock with Breaker. Shout out to Breaker and what they're doing. I've seen people benefit from the platform myself.
Yeah, so check it out when you get a chance. I think it's BREAKR. There's no E in the second. There's no second E, I believe. So check it out. If you run a campaign, maybe drop us a DM and let us know, you know, what the experience was like, you know, how successful it was. Everybody's looking to get their music in front of more people, and influencer marketing, if done right. You know, obviously there's a lot of people out there that just want the check and they're just going to throw the music in anything and be like, all right, I did it. But, you know, I believe on the Breaker platform, you can kind of see reviews and see what people have done in the past. And there's just more transparency there. It's
Music Breaker, MUSICBREAKR.com. And then also the same on Instagram.
So check it out. Let us know what you think. We're going to wrap up this episode because I got to run. I got a call in a bit. But Payne, you want to close us out?
Yeah. Oh, you got 2 Lost stuff to do. So anyway, if you want 2 Lost stuff to do, as in uploading your music, for free to all the major platforms. Go to tolost.com and use the code @odds, and you will get that. So I know a lot of people have already signed up, and a lot of people who maybe have never. I know it's 2024. Most of us have used a music distributor, but I think a lot of us still haven't. And so now is a great time to start since it's free. Tolost.com, use the code @odds. Just get familiar with these systems, scheduling music out, that kind of thing. Because the more you use it, just like anything, just like Instagram, just like TikTok, the more you understand the platform and the way a platform works, the better you're and more strategic you're going to become with your releases. So check that out, and we will catch you next week, same time, same place, for a new episode that you can tell us hasn't addressed information from the future. Appreciate it. Peace.